Good morning, students. In the last class, we have discussed about human skeleton, and we have learned that the bones in our body can be seen by using X-rays, and X-rays were discovered by a scientist known as Röntgen, for which he was awarded Nobel Prize in Physics in the year 1901. In fact, it is the first Nobel Prize in Physics. Okay, that is for your general information, not related to this chapter syllabus, right? An adult human body has 206 bones. Hope you might be knowing it, because for the sake of writing entrance exam, you might have learned this fact. And if we carefully observe our bones in our body, in the front side, below the neck, there is a center strong one bone, which is called chest bone, and biologically it is called sternum. What it is? Sternum. And backside, you bend your body forward, and backside, if you observe, you can see a bumpy central rod-like structure with several joints. That is called backbone. So there is a backbone in the backside, and there is a chest bone in the front side. And where they are located? They are located backside and front side, but exactly in the center. Apart from this backbone and front chest bone, there are some side bones present between these two. Means connecting the chest bone and backbone, some side or lateral bones are present. They are in pairs. How many pairs of side bones are there? 12 pairs of side bones are there. They are attached to chest bone in the front side and to backbone in the back side. These side bones are called ribs. What they are called? Ribs. By being attached to chest bone in the front side and by being attached to backbone in the back side, the ribs form a box-like structure. This is called a rib cage. So what is rib cage? The box-like structure that is made by the attachment of ribs both with chest bone and backbone. The box-like bony structure. The box-like bony structure that is made by the attachment of ribs with chest bone and backbone is called rib cage. In our body, there are many important internal parts, out of which the heart and lungs are very much important parts. Right? It doesn't mean that other parts are not that important, but if other parts, if they stop functioning temporarily, okay, they can be repaired and we can be still alive. But if the lungs and heart, they stop from their function, even temporarily, we cannot survive. So they are very much important internal parts than any other internal parts. And these parts are very sensitive. And we may be exposed to many external pressures. Since these two parts are very important parts and sensitive parts also, they have to be protected. Something which is very important as well as sensitive needs more protection. Lungs and heart are very important parts for our survival as well as their sensitive parts. So they are protected in the box like bony box like rib cage. That is the usefulness of rib cage. See here the rib cage is shown to you, and this one, this is the sternum or chest bone, and these are all ribs, and this one is the backbone from the backside. In the backside, as we already have discussed, there is a hard, long and bumpy structure present in the center. It is called backbone. What is backbone? The hard, long and bumpy structure present in the center of the backside of our body is called backbone. Backbone, it is not made up of one single long bone. Instead, it is made up of many small bones, and all of them are having joints between them. So they can make a forward and backward movement, bending movement, like how your hinge joint allows the forward bending, okay, or one directional bending. Here the joints between the small bones of backbone also allow these small bones to bend forward to some extent, backward to some extent. And these small bones are called vertebrae. What they are called? Vertebrae, right? As backbone is made up of many vertebrae, backbone is also called vertebral column. Vertebral column, right? And as I already told you, as our backbone is made up of many small bones, we are able to bend both forward and backward. As our backbone is made up of many small bones, we are able to bend both forward and backward. If our backbone would have been made with single long bone-like structure, this bending would not be possible. If backbone would have been made up of one long bone, then it would not be possible to bend. See here, you can see the backbone in figure 8.10. You can make a notice of several vertebrae. Okay, detailed analysis you can learn later. Okay, detailed analysis can be learned later, right? You go and stand by taking the support of a wall and press your back to the wall. Below your head, backside, two bones are pressurized. When you press your back onto the wall, two bones below your neck, backside of your chest, two bones will be pressed. These two bones, they appear like as if they are standing. The two bones which are standing at the position of your shoulders are called shoulder bones. The two bones which are standing at the position of your shoulders are called shoulder bones. And these shoulder bones are joined with the bones of your hind arm bones. Hind arm means the top part of your hand. That is known as hind arm. The shoulder bone is attached to the top portion of your hand. That is hind arm portion. In hand there are two portions. They are hind arm and forearm. Hind arm means top portion of your hand. And forearm means the bottom portion of your hand. Right? So the hind arm bone is attached to your shoulder bone with what type of joint? With a ball and socket joint. The hind arm bone is joined with your shoulder bone with a ball and socket joint. In figure 8.11, you can see the shoulder bones. These are this part is shoulder bone, and these are ribs. This is hind arm bone, and these are the shoulder bones. Okay, you need to draw all of these diagrams. Okay, they can be asked in your exams also. Below the portion of your stomach, there is a portion below your stomach area. That portion is enclosed by a particular set of bones. These bones are known as pelvic bones. The region below your stomach is called pelvic region. As the bones are enclosing this pelvic region, those bones are called pelvic bones. Okay. The area of the pelvic bones is the part where we generally sit on. So, if anyone is asking you, on which bones are you sitting? That is not your thigh bones. That is the pelvic bones. The area of the pelvic bones is the part on which we are sitting. In figure 8.12, you can see the pelvic bones in your textbook. In figure 8.12, you can see the pelvic bones, right? The bony portion of our head is known as skull. The bony portion of our head is known as skull. Means in our head, all the bones together, they are present in almost attached in form. This entire bony part of our head is known as skull. And cranium is a special part of the skull. The skull encloses and protects our brain in the bony box. Okay, in the bony box in the form of cranium. Actually, in your textbook it is given that skull itself is enclosing your brain like that. But yes, brain is there in your head only. But the entire bony structure of the head is skull. But where specifically the brain is present means brain is present in cranium. Okay. In your regional terms, if you have to tell, skull means talaburde or purre, like this, different regional terms. Cranium means kapala. Okay. If only cranium is removed from the skull, if you just put it upside down, then it will be appearing like a small vessel in which some food can be kept. It is said that some Naga sadhus, they used to take the bhiksha in the cranium only. Right? Okay. the additional parts of the skeleton which are not as hard as the bones but they are present as part of the skeleton, and they can be bent also. To some extent they can be bent also. These are called cartilage. So along with bones in the skeleton there is some additional part. These additional parts of the skeleton which are not as hard as the bone but they are mild hard, and bone is very hard so it cannot be bent, whereas this mild hard structure, additional part of the skeleton along with bone, it can be bent also. So the substance of the skeleton which can be bent is known as cartilage. Where does this cartilage present? Cartilage is generally present between the earlobes and the upper part of the ear. Earlobes. So earlobes, if you just touch, you can simply touch like a normal flesh, above which you can see little hard structure but can be bent. That structure can be bent. So between earlobes and the above parts of the earlobes, cartilage is present. And outer portion of nose, your nose also you can touch and feel, which can be bent. Outer portion of the nose also, this cartilage is present. And these two things you can feel, you can touch and you can feel. The cartilage which you can feel by touching is ear area and nose area. And we have learnt many joints. At joints, two parts meet. Means inside the parts what are meeting? Bones are meeting. So where two bones are meeting with each other, in that area, the top part of the bone is covered by cartilage. So at knee, the thigh bone and the foreleg bones are joined. At the knee is hinge joint. At the knee, the thigh bone and the foreleg bones are joined. So end of the thigh bone, which is connected at a knee, and ends of the foreleg bones, which are connected at a knee with the thigh bone. Both these ends of both of these bones are covered with cartilage. Not only these bones. Wherever joints are there, at the joints, the ends of the bones are covered with cartilage. Because at the joints, what is made? Movement is made. So in order to reduce the frictional force, the cartilage cover is there. If cartilage cover is not there, bones will rub with each other, which creates abrasion. Because of abrasion, the bony part will be getting eroded and we will lose our bones very sooner. So in order to avoid that problem, there is a cartilaginous outer covering at the ends of the bones, on the ends of the bones at joints. This is where the cartilage is present. So cartilage provides strength as well as flexibility, and it gives protection from getting eroded at the joints to the bones. It gives protection to the bones from getting eroded, especially at the joints. Whereas at the earlobes and at the nose, cartilage provides strength as well as flexibility, because earlobes receive audio signals, sound signals. Whenever we are listening, first earlobes only are receiving the signals. So they may get just shaken. So without losing their structure, they should receive. So for that they need some flexibility. So they need strength as well as flexibility. So cartilage is present there. At the nose, why they are present? We are taking the air inside and we are releasing the air outside. So some force is there because of this air. If it is completely hard, air cannot easily enter. If it is completely flexible, because of air force it may get damaged. So it should not get damaged and it must allow the free movement of air. Then which particular substance can be helpful? Cartilage. Because of these reasons, cartilage is present at the earlobes and at the nose. You understood? And why the cartilage is present on the ends of the bones at joints? To reduce frictional force, so that as the movement is going on at the joints, the bones do not get eroded. Eroded means not getting damaged, not getting powdered because of rubbing with each other. They rub with one cartilage with another cartilage only there, because the ends are covered with cartilage. So bone is not going to get damaged, right? This is the function of cartilage. This is all little extra information. If you want, you can remember. If you don't want, leave it. No problem, right? Okay. Thank you.